right unto the Spirit of grace. That's saying that if I go back like the swine or the dog to its filth, its vomit, I would be in an awful, awful state. I would be considered as one who has trodden underfoot the Son of God. And I don't count the blood of the covenant as anything. And that is what has sanctified me. So you can see it is utter, utter nonsense, even from the very same chapter 10. You don't have to go looking all over the place. It is very, very clear. You know, in verse 31, still of chapter 10 of Hebrews, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So I don't want to be on the wrong side of God. I want to be His faithful servant. The churches are on an entirely different wavelength to what I am doing. Entirely. The latest Harry Potter book has been released today. This is July 4th, 2007. Amazon, the giant bookseller, said that they had 1.5 million pre-release orders for that book. We are also being told that since the Harry Potter books have been put out, the number of children that are taken up with witchcraft has increased. And I'm sure it applies to parents as well. Now, some of the churches publicly state that they support Harry Potter and that Harry Potter brings people to Christ. Some of the churches have magicians in them performing tricks with cards and all these sorts of abominations. Or am I being told that I need to associate with these people who are in this fallen condition? Certainly not. I know many people who are wandering around from church to church. They find this church wrong, so they move to the next, and they move to the next, and they're hoping they will find the right church. They're not going to find such a thing. They need to seek to have a personal one-to-one relationship with Christ. And then they will be part of the body of Christ. Then they will be part of the bride of Christ. Then they will be part of the man-child, which is all one and the same thing. So we can see from these verses that we have quoted in Hebrews chapter 10 that we have to be separate. In 2 Corinthians chapter 6 it says, "And what concord hath Christ with Belial, Baal, Satan? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?" If you're an unbeliever, if you are carrying on with your witchcraft and other satanic practices, he says, what fellowship is there? What have I got in common with these people? Verse 16, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, "And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For you are the temple of the living God. And God hath said, I will dwell in them, and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people." The predominant church at this time is the Roman Catholic Church, with all her harlot daughters, number one in idolatry. So are we saying that I should run and rejoin the Roman Catholic Church? It is nonsense. In 2 Corinthians chapter 6, in verse 17, it finishes there by saying, "Wherefore come out from among them, and be you separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you." In verse 18, "And will be a father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty." That is telling us that if you do not separate yourself, if you do not come out of Babylon and all the false fallen churches, you will not be regarded as a son or a daughter. That's what that verse is actually telling us. So we need to be very, very clear that at this time, much of what we have thought, much of what we have been taught is utterly wrong. We have to start turning to Christ and be totally dependent on Him. Any other thing is just not going to happen. And there are so many false teachings out there that people are holding on to vain hope, which doesn't exist. Many are looking forward to a rapture. It will not happen. The bride of Christ, the man-child, will be caught away. But the idea that the vast Christian, quote, in quote, Christian church is going to be raptured away and not go through tribulation is not in the Bible. That countless millions are going to turn to the fallen churches in a great revival is not in the Bible. What the Bible is telling us is, come out of her, be you separate. So I hope I have made this very, very clear, that you don't let anyone pressure you into feeling you must stay in a church. Because as they like to say, if you leave us, where will you go? I will go to Christ. Don't worry about it. I will go to Christ. I refuse to be under the control and manipulation of people who are putting themselves as middlemen in between Christ and myself. That's what you want to tell them. No middlemen. It is in the church's best interest to hold you, because they need your money. They need your tithes. They need your offerings, so that they can lead the lavish lifestyle that the vast majority of ministers lead, while the membership is in most cases impoverished. So that is why they have to hold you. And they threaten you that if you leave, you're going to be lost, you're going to hell, and all the rest of it. Do not accept it. Stand your ground. And remember, now is the time to be you separate and to come out of Babylon. And this is the end of this particular Babylon report. And I strongly recommend that you go to our website, peterjamesx.com, and you will see many documents there. We've got a document called Forsaking the Assembling of Ourselves. I'm not putting up any notes for this particular thing, but this document already exists. So thank you very much for watching, and this is PJ from Peter James Kitchen saying cheerio until the next time.